I don't think I've ever spelt that word wrong in my life.
Yes, still, you raccoon right.
That is, yeah, but raccoon is literally a word that I've never had to spell before. It's D-E-R-A-I-L-E-D.
Tiger.
Yo,
More
got a weapons
options.
case here.
Create account. First name. Fuck it. I'm using just my name.
First name faggot, last name faggot. My name is faggot.
Mm.
All right, all right? Somebody found somebody's watching someone's stream.
Jim Sean.
First, let me make sure the Derailed podcast is not a thing.
Okay,
It is thing. Fuck.
Yeah. Now try to find
Of course
it.
it's a thing. Derailed podcast. By Nick.
There is no actual famous train wreck podcast.
Trainwrecks podcast.
Yeah, but that's a podcast by a man. That's a podcast by a man that goes by Trainwreck. The podcast's not called the Trainwreck Podcast. It's called Trainwreck's Podcast. Therefore,
looks
we're
like
free from any infringement. You two would probably get along.
Douches don't get
Trainwreck.
along with other
La
dudes.
Plaga's getting ready to flee the country with his big brother. We can't let that happen. Take out La Plaga before he gets away.
Our podcast name should be the Rooster Teeth Podcast. We might get some viewers that way.
Yeah,
We have to come up with another name. Trainwreckpodcast@gmail.com is already taken.
There was a new update onto GTA.
Contagious Autism Podcast.
no. I don't think that would go well.
¿Cómo quiero ver a mi mamá? Ya, pues.
Phil.
Buen día, compatriotas.
¡Levanten sus copas! ¡Salud!
El man no anda al pedo. Quiere mamarse.
Hola, compañero.
Fuck it. I know how we're gonna find out our podcast name.
Random name generator.
Yup. Random. Let's see if there is a podcast name generator.
Yep. I found
Yes,
one.
there is. Podcast name generator.
Is it on namestation.com?
Yep.
Yep, I'm on the same one.
Generate more names. Shit, this one's for donames. Web series name generator.
Yep, I'm going to the next one.
Crystal
Treehouse
Mind
Comic.
Podcast. Crystal Mind Podcast.
Yeah, more like the crystal meth.
There we go, that's it! The Crystal Meth Podcast. Hyperflow.
More like meth
Doesn't-
podcast.
Hyperflow, that doesn't sound too bad. Modern Stories Podcast.
Hell's Marriage. Space.
Soul Wing Podcast.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Demon Cat Podcast. Demon Cat Podcast and Company.
Here's his house.
See, these we're gonna have to add something to make them sound good, but Demon Cat Podcasting Company does not sound that bad.
It sounds just over.
I asked the rebels to do a recon of the area. Mucking a tank.
Starlock Podcast.
That sounds kind of stupid.
So Demon Cat Podcasting Company is one that we're gonna keep on the back burner right now.
Yeah, I'll make a list of these.
So Demon Cat Podcasting Company, write that down, then I'll start saying out more. Then I'll start reading out more.
Alright. Word document. Okay, for giving. Alright, Control E. It's here. There.
And then we can make just stupid videos that go alongside the podcast on a YouTube channel called Demon Cat Company.
Yeah.
But for
Cast
now, let's
names.
just keep that on the back burner. Demon Cat Podcasting Company.
Demon Cat. Podcast.
And I can Demon Cat is the only one that I actually have an idea for a graphic that I could make for it.
Have something with that.
Because Demon Cat Podcast Company sounds like an actual company, so I'm gonna make. When I make a graphic for the podcast, I could do it. I could actually do a graphic for it.
Yeah, we.
These are the only type of graphics that I'm good at. Is like company graphics where like I put the company name with some sort of logo in the background and then put like established 2017.
So, anything else good you're finding?
Oh, I stopped searching while you were writing it down.
Oh, yeah, I wrote it down.
Well, there was the Modern Stories podcast, which doesn't sound too bad.
On stories. One that's easily
Did you guys-
transferable into a YouTube.
Did you guys hear about Trey Parker? And know how the term derp like got really popular on South Park? Like South Park popularized that term while we were in like middle school,
Yeah.
Cullen.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's a term that kids are starting to use again. And Trey Parker heard his son say it, so Trey Parker started using it again, and his son walked up to him and said, "Stop, Dad, you don't even know what that means." And he just turned to his son and said, "Fuck you, I made that word."
How did his son respond?
His son was like, "Oh, okay." Fuck you, I made that word.
Easily to YouTube channel.
What is? A weapon to surpass Metal Gear podcast?
No,
That is an actual thing that came up in this generator.
way too damn long.
Dark mode? No, that's too edgy. Treehouse report! The fucking treehouse report. And then eventually we could just build a treehouse and do them all from there. Fuck it, just put down treehouse report for now.
Alright. Lieutenant first.
What'd you say?
Talk now.
Interrogating a lieutenant.
The Interrogating Lieutenant podcast? That doesn't sound too bad. The Treehouse
that's what I'm
Report.
doing.
Also, we don't even need to have podcast on Treehouse Report. It's just the Treehouse Report.
Yeah. Treehouse report.
Lazy Tales podcast. That's tales as in like stories.
Lazy. Okay. Lazy Tales.
Paper House podcast. Doesn't sound too bad.
That's not bad.
I don't know what it means, but it doesn't sound bad.
Doesn't sound horrible. Paper House.
Whatever it is, it has to be easily able for me to make a graphic for it, at least to start until
Yeah.
it gets maybe somewhat famous, then we can pay someone to make a graphic. Spider
Yeah.
Quest, no, that has to be taken.
I mean, we can both graphics. I know a couple.
Infinite Tales podcast.
That's not bad.
Might as well put it. I
Yeah, I'm
assume
putting it down.
eventually. I assume eventually we're gonna go through this and look at the pros and cons of each
Yeah.
before I make the email and YouTube channel. If there's no way for me to add you as a moderator for the YouTube channel, I'll just give you the password and email.
All right.
I'm gonna use a different password than I use for everything else, so.
Talk now.
Chill the fuck out, Wade. I'm talking, all right?
Reaper Shock. That's a little edgy. Insane Minds podcast. Eh.
I mean, that's okay.
Worth putting down just in case.
Yeah, I'll write it. In minds.
Hazy Stories podcast.
And that sounds like
What?
Target marked. Keep an eye on
that sounds like we're a bunch of potheads.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It's nothing. It just sounds that way.
I think the best is behind us.
I'm just saving this on my laptop.
Hot Fantasies podcast.
This is the writing.
Psychic Wrath podcast. That seems
I
like
mean-
fate, seeing as I'm the psychedelic toad and you're Wrath of Rock.